Hi there, hope you're doing good. In this tutorial, we will talk about Python and how you can use Python in order to create contour maps for oil and gas fields. I've already uploaded to my YouTube channel how to create contour maps, and however, most people, what do they struggle with is they do not have enough data in order to start plotting contour maps. In this tutorial, we will not be using any dataset. Instead, we will try to create oil and gas field, oil and gas well locations and water saturation based on some random values that are generated by Python. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start. The first thing we need to import a library called random. This library will actually help us to generate random values. So we will be starting by typing import. So the import keyword actually tells Python in order to start importing libraries. So we will import random, and then we will import another library called matploltlib.pyplot. If you already have some basic knowledge in Python, you know what this library is. If this is not the case, then this library is just a very infamous plotting library that we use for Python. Now we need to decide how many wells or how many points that we are generating values for. For example, I will create a variable called count of wells. So the count of wells actually, this is the number of data points that it will be used in iteration to generate random values. For example, since we have 300 wells, meaning that we will generate 300 water saturation values, and then we will try to plot these. In order to create contour maps, actually what you need is three variables. So the first variable actually is x. This is the x location of the well. The second one is y, which is the y location of the well. And then you need the value or the variable you want to plot, which is usually going to be water saturation, reservoir pressure. It depends on what you're trying to do or what type of contour map you try to achieve. So in this instance, we'll assume that we want to create something like a water saturation map for our field. So in order to do this, we need to create an iteration, or we need to create a loop that will loop through these numbers or these wells 300 times, or any specific value the user will specify. So loop goes for like for I in range. Range is just a function in Python that creates like an iterable or something that you can iterate over it. The loop will start from 0 and then it will end at the count of the well, meaning that this loop will iterate for 300 times. As the user changes the amount of well or the count of the well, the iteration will change as well, because we are linking two variables in here. So what we need to do is we need to calculate, or we need to evaluate x location for the well. The x location for the well, we will get it from the random library that we already imported. So I will generate a random integer by typing random integer. This will generate a random integer between two ranges. So my range is going to be between 300,000 and 300,040, like this. I will do the same for the y. I will just copy and paste it. I will change the variable name to y, and then I will change the range for the y from 300,000 to 600,000 range. Now we have two of the requirements, the x and y. The next thing is we need to generate random values for the water saturation. For the water saturation, or something in the same caliber where the values actually range between 0 and 1, you can achieve this using multiple methods. The way I will achieve it is I will just generate a random integer that is in the range of 1 to the 3 to the 30, sorry, and then I will divide it to the 100, meaning that the actual range for the water saturation is 0.01 to 0.3, which is between 1 and 30%. Now, since we have calculated, or since we have evaluated all of these parameters, now it's time to save it somewhere. If you do not save these somewhere, you cannot plot them, because contour maps actually they require a matrix or a list to be provided so it to be plotted. So what you need to do is you need to create three lists. A list is just a matrix that will hold data for us. So the first one is going to be the X list. So the X list, X list will hold all the values for us, but it has to be empty before we start. So in order to create an empty list, you will open and close brackets. For the Y list, we will do the same, open and close brackets, meaning that those are just empty lists. And then for the SW list, what we will do, we will open and close brackets as well. So everything is empty. Once we iterate, now it's time to assign or to add the values that we have evaluated in here in these lists and corresponding to each variable. So X list, if you want to add the X variable that we have evaluated to the X list, what you need to do is type .append, append meaning that add this value to the end of the list or to the bottom of the list. So we will add X, and then we will do the same for the Y and SW .append. So we'll append Y, and then SW underscore list, and then append SW that we have already calculated. Now it's time to do our plotting. So first thing what we will do is we need to create the color map. The color map is created in Python using this function plt.tricontourf. Tricontourf is just creating a triangular contour, and the F is corresponding for filled, meaning that it's filled with colors. So you will open and close a parentheses. It will take three variables or three parameters. The first parameter is the X, and then Y, and then the Z. The Z is going to be any variable that you want to display as a color. In this instance, going to be SW. So let's go ahead and provide the X list, and then the Y list, and the SW list, and there we go. Let's go ahead and run this cell by pressing Ctrl and Enter on our keyboard, and there we have it. We have already generated a contour map which is filled with color. Now the few steps remaining is that we need to show the locations for the well, plus we need to show the lines or the contour lines, not just the colors, plus the contours as well. So in order to show the contours, what we will do is type plt dot. We will type the same function name, tricontour, but this time without the F. This will only plot the lines for us. So I will copy everything like this and paste it. Run the application again. So we are having a misspelling here, so it's going to be tricontour. There we go. What we can do is we can change the color of the contour field so it can be a more recognizable. So in order to change the color, what you will need to use is you need to use an argument called CMap. CMap stands for color map. There is a very famous color map. It's called rainbow, like this. You will type it rainbow. You can refer to the documents, so you can have like basic ideas what the types of the color maps that we have. Once we do that, now it's time to plot the well's location. So in order to do that, you will use something like scatter plot. Well's location usually are just scatter plots. It will take only 2 arguments. This is the minimum arguments. So you will pass the X and Y list like this. And then now you have your well locations. As you can see, it's not very easily distinguishable. So what you need to do is you need to change the color of the wells. So this is easily done by typing color equals to whatever color you like, for example, black. Now we have the well locations as well. Now it's time to change the sizes of the well. So to change the size of the well, you will type S. S stands for size, and then you have to decide on whatever size you like. For example, I will type the size 1, which is correspond to 1 pixel. You can change the shape of the well as well. So you will type marker, and then you will provide a string like this. This is corresponding to the upwards triangle. Now you can see the shape has changed as well. So let me just magnify this a little bit so you can see the shapes as well. Now since we have done this, now the only thing remains is we need to actually reduce the width of the contour lines because it's just too big. So what you will do is in the tricontour line, which is line number 18, which is corresponding for the lines that's draw, what you will type is line like this widths, and then you will fix a width to a specific width that you are comfortable with. So we have added a width of 0.3. You can just make it 0.5. You can make it 0.1, anything that you're comfortable with. And there we go. And now our contour map is ready. You can just copy and paste it to anywhere you like. And for example, you can save it, and you can just copy and paste it to Word or what Microsoft Office or whatever application you like. Plus, you can change or manipulate the size as well. So thank you guys for watching. This is basically how to generate a contour map for oil and gas fields using some random data if you do not have any wells data. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.